everybody. Your broskies in basketball are back for the early season showcase so we can show off those green screens tomorrow night. Recording live from somewhere, this is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done, powered by drroto.com. We are here tonight for a little early season showcase action for tomorrow night's slate. And the sir right here. I am your humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich, the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train, and it feels so good to be back. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Let's get right to two of the best in the business to do it, starting with El Capitan himself. He is the captain of the Green Screens Media ship, and of course is still killing it in those prize picks streets. Follow him on X at MC Holland34. The OG Money Mike, that's Mr. Mike Holland. What it do, baby?
What it do? The time has come for another massive DK slate. I'm pretty pumped. And yes, the prize picks have been going really well, man. Taking these 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x, trying to get that 20x, or what is it, 25x next. So yeah, every day's been profitable on prize picks. So I'm excited, man. I'm ready to talk about this slate. There's a lot of great matchups happening.
No doubt about it. And, of course, last of the intros, but first in your hearts, find him in those Twitter streets at Fantasy Nav. He's Eric the Blue and the Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media. That's Eric Roma. What's happening?
Man, I can't believe that we're only into the second week of college basketball, and we've already had two different 10K to first tournaments out there. We're having to wait like the calendar flip to the new year before we see these big top prizes. So glad to be back, glad to be chasing down this big one. And if you've been following along on these one and done shows, on some of the core fours that we've been dropping out on YouTube, on TikTok, on our Twitter handles, you've been seeing plenty of green screens. We're still waiting for the fourth leg of tonight's core four, but the three that have already gone into the locker room: Wooga Poplar 5.5x, Pierre Lewis 6x, Trey Orr 10x. AMAC is there working his way to bringing us home another strong night for the core four. That's exactly what we're going to bring you here tonight. And what would be a one and done college basketball DFS show without some of our favorite commenters? We got C Thuggin, fresh off the Adam Sandler's tour.
Oh,
what is this?
Excellent. Excellent.
Man, ready to talk some hoop. You know that we are as well. We appreciate you swinging through, and none other than Jody. Another good night. We're doing good, Jody. We hope you're doing well. Appreciate you popping into those comments as always.
See, Thuggin out at the Adam Sandler show, huh, man? I always wanted to see him live. I've seen Chappelle live, like really good seats to see Chappelle. But Adam Sandler right now at this point, that'd be pretty cool. So thanks for checking in with us in the comments to our guys C Thuggin and Jody, of course. We see you hanging out there in the lobby watching. You too should hop in those comments and say what's up. Just say, hey, first time, long time, whatever you want to do. Drop us a vine there. Just like our guy Nape C. Hustle would, our guy at the Real Napier, who filled in very, very admirably in the host chair last night on the News and Notes show. Go back and check that out. That's still, all their content is still good. Go back and watch that last night's show after you catch us here tonight. Oh, did somebody else hop in the comments here? What do we got going on?
Ooh, comments are live right now. We got someone named Corey popping in. 17 kiddos are asleep. He's ready for that after dark version. C Thuggin. He's out here. He's out here nominating Nape C Hustle as the nickname. Is actually a great point. We need your help giving Nape his nickname right now. Nape C Hustle is the leader in the clubhouse. So get up in those comments. Let us know how we can refer to Chris Napier. And then Jody's got a very important question. Have any of us seen Shane Gillis' special? I can't say that I have. Does that name ring a bell for either of you guys?
Nah, if he doesn't play 24 minutes for the Gauchos, I don't know who he is.
He might. Who knows?
Excellent stuff. Thanks for checking in again, Jody, and of course our guy Cam checking in as well. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hanging out with the Broskies in basketball here on One and Done, powered by drroto.com. Let's get into the biz tonight, though. A 9-game slate. Mike mentioned that 10K to first, or Eric, did somebody mention the money? We're talking about the cash tonight, that bread, baby. 10K to first, early season showcase. And then, of course, the king of the tournament seat, number 2 on the line as well, in addition to all the different tournaments and cash games going on over there. We talking DraftKings, of course. Got some decent totals tonight, tomorrow night, I should say. Tomorrow, if you're, it's almost Tuesday if you're on the East Coast hanging out with us late night, One and Done after dark. But 163-point total on Tuesday for Iowa and Creighton. We're going to be all over that one. And then, of course, some of these other games in our showcase that we will hit soon. But, of course, we like to start with our slate overview going across the screen there. I'm going to start with Mike El Capitan's comments to lead us off here with an overview of this slate.
Of course, you'd come right to me as I fall from 6th to 8th in the big jam tonight. But I'm trying to hang on here, fellas. We got 10 minutes to go in this last game. But on the slate for tomorrow to win 10K, thing that jumps out to me is there are not very many studs that you're going to want to pay for. So I'm thinking balanced build is going to be the way to go. The other thing that kind of sticks out is I feel like this is the first big slate where there's not massive blowouts all over the place. So that is going to be very fun. So now we can start stacking up our 2-1s, our 2-2s, maybe not 3-2 yet. We'll save that for conference play. But pricing up on the whole, looking like the mid-tier. Eric, what say you on this slate, my friend?
Yeah, look, if conventional wisdom is going to have most people looking at more of a balanced build, that at least says to me we need to figure out ways to try to sprinkle in a little stars and scrub, just from a contrarian standpoint, right? Like, you obviously don't want to force anything, but these contests are so incredibly top heavy, right? It's like anything that you can do to get just a little bit different in your overall texture of your build is something to consider. And like you said, Mike, I am absolutely thrilled that we can finally get into some heavy game stacks, right? We've gone kind of, skinny stacks, one-off pieces through most of the slate. And now we are finally at a point where we can really load up on some of these top games.
Well, looks like we got
some good totals to do there. Yeah, go ahead.
Looks like Jody cleared it up for us. He's a comedian, so there you go.
Makes sense.
All right.
Oh
Jody,
yeah, I've seen some. Oh, he's got some good. I see a lot of them on the shorts or whatever, on scrolling through or whatever. That guy's pretty funny. I know you're
talking at work.
Yeah, while I'm. Yeah. Hey, no, I did not say that, sir. Do not put those words into my mouth, please. I would never.
And we got Cam
Shane Gillis, yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Thanks for checking in.
We'll check them out.
Good stuff. All right. Gonna get to the showcase games now. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hop in those comments in that live chat. The comments if you're watching later. Live chat if you're watching live with us late tonight. Staying up late for some DFS action. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Let's get to the showcase games. Gonna start with that 163-point total between Iowa and Creighton. Iowa 9-point underdogs on the road to the Bluejays. Let's start with Iowa here. I'm gonna go to you, Mike, first. Iowa's metrics here: 11th offensive efficiency, 103rd defensive efficiency, 7th in tempo. Pew, 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 pew. We dig those single digits for sure. That is why Iowa, even as a 9-point dog, has a 76-point implied total, Mike. So what are you thinking here when it comes to the old Hawkeyes?
Yeah, the first guy I want to click on the name is Peyton Sandfort. 7,500 at the forward position. First couple of games, a 44 spot and a 40 spot. He's really the main guy that I want to attack. We talked about this offseason. Like, playing the 4 at Iowa is just the nuts, right? Like, as far as fantasy points are concerned, we got obviously the Murrays, and then now with Sandfort filling in. And he was the guy that didn't have a huge role last year, but now getting high usage, 28% usage through the first couple of games, 30% shot rate. He's rebounding really well, tossing out some assists. He's even chipping in a block or two, shooting 41% from three. So a lot of ways this guy can get there. It feels like the floor is really high. You're going to probably play max minutes here, probably in the low 30s in this particular game environment on the road. And I feel like of all the Iowa guys, like Creighton's tough on defense. But he's probably got the easiest matchup. Mike Miller Jr. is going to be guarding him. So I feel like that's going to give him an advantage there. Everybody else on this Iowa side is just kind of okay for me. Desante Bowen, he's 3,700, a 12-piece and a 28-piece to start the season. I wish he played 25 to 28 minutes. He wouldn't be 3,700 then, I guess, at that point. Only a 16% usage rate, but a 32% assist rate and a 3% steal rate. So this game's going to have a lot of possessions. I guess you could do worse if you're punting here. But, really, those are the two guys I'm going to be looking to attack, Eric. What are you going to do with, like, Cricky and your boy Perkins up there at the top? Are you going to play them at all?
Yeah, I think these are guys that you can kind of mix in, but aren't necessarily huge priorities. We'll start off with Cricky. 7.7K just feels like kind of a weird spot from a pricing standpoint. He could be super sneaky in large fields, right? Like he'll largely be overlooked because of that price tag. But all of his rates get you what you're looking for, right? 25% usage, 28% shot, 24% combined rebound, 11% assist. He can chip and dip. He can get you that 3% steal rate, right? So the way that they're using him is promising. It just hasn't all come together. Maybe now that we're his first competitive game, we see him along with all the starters get some more runs, some bigger minutes. That could certainly push him over the top. The other name that you mentioned going down $400 is to Tony Perkins. He's the guard here. He's coming off of a 24 and a 25 spot. Again, not exactly what you want to see to pay off that mid 7K price tag. But look, we only have to go back to last year to see him really reach into his bag and bring some slate breaking upside, right? So if you're trying to see that 10K payday, like he could be one of those guys that is going to be low single digit ownership and absolutely has the upside to crack this thing wide open. Looking at the rest of the Iowa side, really the only name that we haven't talked about here is the last remaining McCaffrey. That is Patrick, 5.7K. He's coming off of a couple of mid to upper 20-point performances. He shoots, right, 38% from three. Pretty good with the J from around the court. The thing for me is like these shooting dependent guys, especially in a tough defensive matchup like he has against Creighton, like it's not exactly an ideal spot, right? So like if you want to overload this game, he can be in the player pool, but by himself in a vacuum, he's not someone that I'm going out of my way to roster.
If you go Sanford and Bowen, it's 11-2 for both of them in a game with this many possessions. On a side that is, even I think this is going to be played probably right around this total. So even if they are in the mid 70s, I mean, it's enticing to say the least to do that. Looks like
a couple of comments in here. What do we got?
Comments rolling in. What do we got?
Yeah, what do we got here? We got
so we got
Cam
checking in, Iowa alum and fan. So he likes the Bowen value here, big role. Thought he thought he's seeing Bowen in the role that he thought Dix would have in those first two games. Mike, I don't know if you have a read on what's going on with Dix.
They're just splitting the time basically, which is annoying from a fantasy perspective. So yeah,
which is even better reason to get on Bowen now before it costs $5,400 a night, and we're going to be talking about the days where we could get him for 3.7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I don't mind it at all. Also, here Patty McFlyers will be in play for me as well. Go ahead, man. I'll let you do that in the large field. I'm going to be messing around with Sanford and Bowen. I might toss a Cricky in the 10K on one lineup. Got to use these 12 tickets that I have. Oh, hey, look who's back, man. Hold on. We got Jody here. There's always an Iowa guy that goes nuts. That's always. Absolutely true.
That's true.
Then Who is this? Remember this guy?
Oh my God.
Anthony
Oh,
G.
man. Anthony G. Is that who we got going on over here?
Going with the new initials here. AJ, not
What's
AG.
up, man?
Welcome back,
all right,
Anthony
AJ.
G.
What's up, AJ? What's up, man? Bowens is a stud. I agree. And honestly, that's Bowen, like play Bowen while you can at this price. You don't even have – he doesn't have to get to 28 at 3.7. He doesn't have to get to 28. You get to 17.
Yeah.
Get to 18, and the value's there, and you just got to hit on some of these other ones. Like maybe going to the Creighton side here, a guy like Shireman that has the ability to just take over a game. But Mike is 9.1K, especially you look at the early season totals here, 34 and 29. The ceiling's higher than that.
Yeah.
But at this point in the year, are you ready to invest 9.1K in Shireman?
Man, it's really hard to invest in any of these Creighton guys, honestly. Look, here's the thing. They're 7th in offensive efficiency, right? They're 20th in defensive. They're kind of slow, 278th in tempo, but they're getting paced up. The problem is the price points to start the year have been so annoying. Hit Trey Alexander the other day, but outside of that, I don't know that Shireman's playable at 9,100. Jay, you mentioned the ceiling. I feel like it's probably 40 to 44, but is that going to beat out a balance build? Is a 44 from Shireman and an 18 from Bowen going to be enough to, run out, 7 to 8 dudes in the mid sixes that go for 35? That's kind of the question of the slate. Could he get to 50? I don't think so. So you're really just kind of hoping that he goes nuts and gets a double-double, maybe 21 points and 10 rebounds. But everything has to go right because you have all these other guys. The one guy on Creighton that I am going to be jamming into a lot of my 10K to first builds is Stephen Ashworth. The price came way down, finally, 6,700, probably because it came off that 17 piece, but put up almost a 30 in the first game. Usage is there. It's 20%, almost a 20% shot rate, 23% assist rate, shooting 60% from three in the early going. This is what makes this team so dangerous. They're shooting 47% from three through the first 2 games. It's because everyone can shoot, even Kalkbrenner. So it's absolutely ridiculous. He's actually got double-double upside in these high-paced matchups with his assist totals. I could see him putting up something like 13 or 14 points with 10 assists. Chips in a steal or two, and you just happen to grab a loose rebound or two, and you're talking about really paying off 6,700. So I'm going to probably have more than double what the field's going to have of him, and I'm going to be glued to this TV because all these other guys are high-usage guys around him, which is pretty scary. Farabello was really the only guy off the bench that I would maybe even consider. He's 4,300, but I'm not really going there. Eric, what are you going to do with Kalkbrenner, who for some reason doesn't want to grab rebounds right now? And then there's Trey Alexander, who's in the midst of a breakout year.
How do you have 3 guys at 8.6K or higher on the same team?
Yeah.
Trying to decide which one of these guys to play, Eric. Mike didn't even talk about Trey Alexander or Kalkbrenner from the, breaking down the profile and stuff like that for this sort of a matchup. And what do you think? What do you think about these high-priced guys?
Yeah, I think it really forces your hand on the Creighton side, right? You can't overload with too many of these top flight guys, and because of that, I think we're going to see all 3 of these big name dudes be a little bit overlooked on tomorrow's slate. Maybe the exception to that is Trey Alexander. He is the direct pivot off of Baylor Shireman. You're saving a couple $100 there. He's also coming off that 47 spot, and we know that DFS players love to chase the last slate's performance. The thing is, you can't go overboard. I expect him to be one of the more popular Creighton pieces. He has to get back into that 47 range to pay off this price tag, and that was very much so his ceiling, right? So, mix him in again. He'll be in the pool where you're stacking here, but not a huge priority. And then Kalkbrenner, kind of weird to see. He is the cheapest of these 3, mainline players for the Jays. He also saw a significant price cut. He's down $1,000 to 8,600. A lot of that has to do with that 24 spot after he put up a 21 spot. The price is going to make it real difficult to feel comfortable, clicking the button on his name. But he's another guy that obviously has the upside to break a slate completely wide open, right? So I might be more interested in him, certainly in the 10K to first tournament, and as a contrarian option. The thing with Kalkbrenner is like, he's been in these blowouts, so you're not seeing him rebound the way that we're accustomed to. We're not seeing him shot block the way we're accustomed to.
Smash the under if it's 8 rebounds tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think the last time it was 8 rebounds, he put up like 2 or 3, right? But more specifically, his matchup, like on the Iowa side, like I don't know how Cricky or anybody else on that side in that front court can really guard him, right? So
can you imagine Cricky trying to guard him?
Dude, my guy's gonna be on skates. He's gonna be getting bodied. Like it's gonna be a long day in the office. So everything that you're looking for from a matchup standpoint is there. It's just, we haven't really seen him do it yet. So to pay off that price tag, it feels a little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
perfect large field, right, Jay? Just smash.
Imagine
3%
imagine. Yeah. Imagine knowing though that he's gonna absolutely go ham on this slate, and the next time we look at Creighton, he's gonna cost like 9.2, and we're gonna be sitting here thinking like, how can Baylor Sharman and Kalkbrenner both be above 9? And it's because tonight, I keep saying tonight, this game, this slate, this Monday or Tuesday night slate. I feel like this is Kalkbrenner's coming out party this season. I'm definitely going to mix him in, especially in some large field stuff for sure. So there's the first showcase game. Make sure you hop in that live chat if you're hanging out with us live. Even if you're hanging out with us later on, leave us a comment. Let us know you're here hanging out with us. Just say what's up. Put the fire emoji, Mike's favorite. We do the hands here because Mike likes it so much. Yeah, you can shake your head all you want, but this is the fire. Oh, now everybody's on the screen. All right, that's all right. There we got him. All right, very good. Okay, drop whatever emoji you want in the chat, and we'll throw it up on the screen. But also hit those like and subscribe buttons while you're at it. And AJ back with a comment again, hopping in there. What do we got
so far? Keelan Boswell is very, very good. Yes, he should have been in high school last year. Arizona's gonna be tough to beat. All right, just a little. I don't want to say overreaction, but a little reactive to the Duke game. So yeah,
listen.
We had a number 1 in our power rankings, so I guess we're overreacting.
Yeah, well, that, and also let me tell you, I'm sitting there trying to put my kid to bed the other night, and we're watching the end of that Arizona Duke game, and we're watching, and then Caleb Love comes on the screen, and my son is like, "Oh, that's Caleb Love," and I'm like, he remembered him from the top 20 that we did last year. And he said, "Oh, that's Caleb Love." And I was like, "Yeah, that is. Let's watch the end of this game." And he hits those free throws, and the Arizona wins. And my kid is sitting in Central Texas and looks me in the eye and goes, "Dad, Arizona is my favorite team now, and Texas is number 2." And it's just like, "Hey, buddy, you can do whatever you want, my guy."
Get out.
But it's Caleb Love. That's the thing. It's Mike's guy, Caleb Love, that's bringing it. That my kid is really attaching himself to. So I guess I'm going to have to pay a little more attention. Jody, you got some thoughts on Alexander?
I'm stealing his rebounds, man.
Right. Yeah.
It feels like I smash his under 8 rebounds. I'm just going to smash it on Prize Picks until conference play. Looks like Myron's back in the comments too. Great to see DraftKings throwing up CBBDFS folks a bone with a banging GPP 10K to first. Absolutely. No doubt. No doubt, Myron. Comment before we move on here. This early in the year, and Cameron, newish team, that center could be Krivas. Yeah, we talked about him yesterday on our News and Notes show. He looks pretty good.
No doubt about it. Thank y'all. That's what we like to see. Bam, 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 rapid fire. Pew, 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 pew. We're going to throw them up there. Myron, thanks for hopping in there tonight, too. We appreciate it. Good to see you back, man. Moving on now to Colgate. Traveling to those Syracuse Orangemen, sans the 2-3 defense now. Colgate, 5-point underdogs with a 157-point implied total here. This isn't exactly, when we were talking about Syracuse having the 305,000th tempo or whatever back in the day. They get up and down a little bit now. It's okay. We're going to be able to watch this game. But I'm going to start first with Colgate, actually, here in this matchup. 105th offensive efficiency, 200th defensive efficiency, 153rd in tempo. And this total, it implies that they will have 76 points in this one. in this matchup here. So we gotta like that total if they can get to it. Going to start with Eric first on this one. Got some Colgate Raiders here. 4 out of 5 fantasy experts recommend who for your fantasy team tomorrow. Oh, did I say yeah?
Man, just stepping right on my jokes. Before you kiss or use Colgate, I'll have to go with the backup option. The first person to talk about here, the price king for the Colgate Raiders, Keegan Records, 7K flat. They've played a pretty light schedule so far, so we only have one game to reference where he put up 28 points. I mean, I wish he was a little bit cheaper, right? Like it feels like, much of the ceiling is built into this price. Like he's really going to have to get there. But I mean, he's an absolute beast, right? We've seen him flash at times. So, he can do it. I don't feel super comfortable about it where we sit right now. Right below him, $400 savings. You can go to Braden Smith at 6.6K. He's coming off a 29 spot. That feels a little bit better in the mid 6K price tag, right? He feels like he's really the guy to target here. Like, awesome price. This is a kid that's going to continue to run the offense. And, while he's looking at nearly a 30 burger in that first game, I mean, he can reach back and get up to, the high 30s, maybe even a 40 spot. So don't mind him at all. And then going down to some of the salary savers here, we've got Nicholas Louis Jacques. He's sitting at 3.5K, 23 spot in that first game. He started the game. It was real tight down the stretch, so he played a full complement of 28 minutes. For almost the min, like I think we're gonna have to have some shares of him. So these are the three guys to really consider here. Going back to Braden Smith a little bit, like in that 29 spot, he also had 6 turnovers. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
I'm glad you brought that up.
If we get back to a point where he's just more like himself in both those regards, like he can zoom past this number.
No, I'm glad you circled back around to that because that's the key here. Is Smith had one of his worst nights. Probably one, looking at his floor. Pardon me. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I'll jump in here while Jay sips on his little sody there. Ryan Moffitt, he's 5,900, 14 spot in the first game. I mean, he's in the player pool just because of the total. I'm not going to have much of him. Same kind of goes with Jeff Woodward. He's 4,700. I mean, he's cheap. He's in this game. More of a plotting big man. I have more interest, obviously, in some of the guys that Eric was talking about, Smith, Records. The one guy I might take a shot on. I don't know that you really need to get here, though. Brady Cummins at 3,300. 17 fantasy points. He played the most minutes off the bench. I think he really has to shoot well. So, you don't need to really go here because now if there was a Baycott, now there is a Dickinson. So if you want to get to him, like you can take a flyer on one of these cheapies, but there's so much mid-range value that I don't even know that you need to do quite this low. But yeah, really these other guys, they're just in the player pool, right? Like I don't even know that I'm going to get to them. I'm really going to try my best to lock in Smith, pivot to Records in some places at the forward position. And that's really going to be it for me on this side.
Never had a greater endorsement of a college basketball player for a DFS lineup than he's cheap. He's in this game. That's about – I mean, that's
check and check.
I mean, yep, digging it. Totally get that for sure. Syracuse.
That's why you stay up and watch the show.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Moving on now to the other side here. Syracuse Orangemen, 77th offensive efficiency, 175th defensive efficiency, 102nd in tempo. That is a sight for sore eyes here. Going to start with Eric again. I mean, this is I'm trying to figure out how I want to approach this price tag with Mintz and just like even remotely.
That's crazy. 9,600.
Like, I'm lost here with Mintz.
Yeah, I mean it's a big number, and that's with him coming off of an already big number when he was 9.3K on the last slate, right? Like this is a territory that we're just not accustomed to with Mintz. I mean he's coming off a 40 spot. He put up 35 in the game before that. all of his rates are just astronomical. So like you have everything that you're looking for, but that price tag is just insane, right? Like, functionally speaking, he's in the right game for it, right? Like there's this massive total. He showed in the last game that he can get to 40. Really it's just he's almost got to get to 50 to pay that off. And I don't know if he's got that in his locker, right? So, he's not going to be a huge priority for me. Looking for the direct pivot and considerable savings like 4K, you can go to JJ Starling at 5.5K. He's coming off of, what you can say is pretty close to his ceiling game, coming off a 35 spot in the last game. 21 would be his floor from the game prior. His usage is about average, but his shot rate is really nice, 34%. Like, I'd rather I'd rather consider him more of a GPP play just because, those shooting first type of players, like there's a lot of volatility there, but I certainly appreciate the cost savings, right? So don't mind clicking Starling's name and then going even further down for a little bit more savings. We'll switch over to a guard here and we'll go with Chris Bell, 4K flat, coming off of essentially 2 16-point performances. This is a guy who starts at the forward position for them, but he's not playing big minutes, right? 26 minutes in that last game, 19 in the one before. I think 19 is probably a little bit more of what we can expect from him. So, can he pay this off? Absolutely. But if you're talking about this kind of high teens upside players, you're really wanting someone that's going to be priced in like the mid to high 3K range. 4K is probably a little too rich for Bell.
When you're talking about these balanced builds, Starling, I feel like Starling's going to be one of the most highest owned players on the slate. So you can attack that one way or the other, right? Like, Are you going to be in on it? Are you going to ride that wave and take that usage in a high total game and hope for that? Because you really, would you be happy with 35 again at this price?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's what I mean. So, and it could very easily happen here. I feel like Starling has a better chance to get to 35 than Mintz does to get to 50.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Mike, what do you got in the side?
Which is terrifying because Starling can go out there and put up a 12.
Yeah.
The rest of this Syracuse squad, Malik Brown. Oh God, man! Like it seems like fool's gold. He's 5,500 at the forward position. His rates to the first two games: 12% usage, 12% shot rate. So where he's getting there is his 8% steal rate and a 21% combined rebounding rate. So what he's doing is he's getting put back layups. I was watching the game the other day. So he's getting little 3.25s here and there, and he's getting these steals, right, that, are volatile for him because he's not like this, high priority defensive player that you want to get. So I don't know. I got to cross him off at a 12% usage rate to try to win 10K, right? Justin Taylor at 5K. Man, these Syracuse guys are just so disgusting, right? Like, look, he put up a 28 and a 31. His usage rate's only 17%. His shot rate's only 17% because Starling and Mintz, they just shut. Not much of an assist rate. He shoots 44% from three. The thing is if he shoots 30% from three one night, then he's only going to score 19 fantasy points. And I get it, right? Like 4X, like that's okay. So that's why he's in my player pool because the price, he should probably be closer to 5,500, 5,800. So yeah, I'll have a few shares of him. It's not going to feel great. Naheem McLeod, the transfer from Florida State, I missed this big time. I told myself, play him. The first game, he came out, scored 8 fantasy points. He only played a few minutes. And then the next game, he goes out and puts a 30 spot and gets the minutes. But still, the usage rate's just not there. He's doing it on blocks and rebounds. This is a game he can only play 8 to 10 minutes because it's fast paced and just going to get run off the court. So yeah, there's so much volatility in this Orangeman lineup. Starling, you want to play him, but it's like he's so shot dependent. Mintz is too expensive. Taylor's kind of a headache because of his usage rate. So for me, it's like I want to get into this game, but I'm not going to this is probably not a game that I say I want a 2-2 or a 2-1 stack. This is more of maybe a 1-1. Or just a one-off on,
Listen,
side.
If you play as many lineups as you play, going Starling and Taylor on this side and then sliding Braden Smith in there with it. I'm saying, like, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna go with 2-1 here, and you want to get a little bit of both sides of this one, like, I don't think that's gonna be. I mean, I think a lot of these guys are going to be played on different lineups. I don't know if that's going to be one where everybody's playing. I know it's going to be balanced, sort of a build look to it, but I like that a lot. If we're going to talk about a stack on this game, maybe little Starling, little Taylor, and then Braden Smith. Who knows? Let's get crazy. Let's get wild. It's just, you can get wild with the Syracuse orange now. Like,
why not?
What a time to be alive. College basketball fans. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons, will you please? Do it. I believe in you. I believe in you. And then the OG Money Mike believes in you. Which way? He's over here tonight. There he is.
We got a comment from Corey.
Corey's
back.
Yeah,
he's still awake, man. That guy should be asleep. Time to only give Texas players to Jay for the top 20 countdown. Just can put the Texas back at number 1. That's hilarious. Yeah, man.
Gotta raise
I know I'm getting him for Christmas.
Yeah, I can't wait. He'll the Caleb Love jersey. I can't wait for him to get
amazing. Signed.
Santa might get asked for something. Who knows? Hey, I got the guy. I can pull some strings with Santa, but I can't pull some strings with your DFS lineups if you're not watching One and Done. That's what we're here to do. So make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Turn on those notification bells so you don't miss any of this stuff. We're coming at you twice a week for these DFS slates. These bigger DFS slates. We're not going to hit every single night, but what you can do is follow us at One and Done CBB and at Get Green Screens on X. Also at Get Green Screens over on TikTok. We're dropping the Core Fours basically every day. We're dropping some prize picks in there. We're dropping some bets every now and then. So follow all those accounts that you see scrolling across there on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. At Get Green Screens on TikTok as well. All the handles up here on the screen. Get over to drroto.com. Check out Mike's college basketball work. Check out all of our work. Been having a little bit of I'm on a nice little run here on the Thursday night articles, Thursday night betting column. So get over there and check that out. We're all putting in those work. So we see you hanging out with us on YouTube. Make sure you hop in those comments and say what's up, even if it's your first time. Just say, hey, chunk up the deuce, whatever. You do it this way or this way, whatever. We don't care. Thumbs up is good. Fire emojis. Slap it in there, whatever you want. Thanks for hanging out with us. We see you, and we appreciate you. Let's move on now to Wisconsin, our first road favorites of our showcase. 2-point favorites going on the road to Providence, 152-point implied total here, with Wisconsin getting 76 of that implication. Wisconsin is 25th offensive efficiency, 29th defensive, 52nd in tempo. This is a good basketball team, Eric. And unlike earlier in the show where we're looking at 3 guys over 8.6K, Wisconsin's top dogs, you're going to get them a little bit cheaper if you're rotating them in.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about how Scotty is priced on this slate. I'll start off with their most expensive option, who's still pretty reasonably priced, and that's Steven Crowell, 6.5K. He's coming off of a 29 spot. He had 18 in the game prior to that. And with how this pricing is laid out, like there's a lot to like here with Crowell. His rates are fantastic, especially his 35% combined rebound rate. Really sets up nicely for this matchup against Providence. And you have to think, this 29 burger that he put up last time, like you'd be plenty fine with that at 6.5K. That was 14-6 against the number 1 defense in the land, the Tennessee Volunteers, right? So now he has much more favorable waters to navigate in this game. Love how this one sets up for Crowell. If you're looking for a direct pivot, you can save $200. You can go down to Tyler Wall. He is a player that is coming off of a 23 in the last game. Usage is definitely the strong suit here, 23%. Does a lot across the board, 24% combined rebound, 14% assist. This hasn't been the best start to the year for him, but we know that he can get into the mid-30s pretty readily, right? So definitely a large field option, definitely someone that you can use to pivot off of Crowell?
I don't know about Crowell, man. Like, I can just see him like getting back down into that 18-20 range, and can't afford to do it at 6.5K. But again, like, there's just a lot. I almost feel like there's more that outweighs, you know what I'm trying to say. I think the good outweighs the bad here with Crowell, but there's something that's sitting with me right here that makes me feel like we might see the bottom side of that. Mike, who do you got here for and shout out before we go any farther. Shout out to T-Pain for rhyming mansion with Wisconsin, okay? With Wisconsin, like however he did it, shout out every time when we talk about Wisconsin. We're going to talk about T-Pain finding a way to rhyme mansion with that. All right, we got to go to Mike now. Here we go. Chucky Hepburn, man. What are we even talking about Chucky yet?
Oh, the Chuckster. And I think what you're saying here, Jay, is that there's a lot of guys in the starting lineup that can get it done, that can go for 30 fantasy points. So if Crowell goes for 20, it could be Wall going for 30, 35. It could be Chucky Hepburn going for 30, 35. We've seen Hepburn go for 36 already, and almost a 20% usage rate, and almost a 20% shot rate. Assist rate, you would think it's be a little bit higher, but it's early in the year. Shooting 43% from three. I think I'm most interested in the forwards. I'm kind of with Eric where, Crowell was one rebound away from a double-double. I think he's going to have more block upside in this matchup too. But like Hepburn sitting there at 6,100, he could flash a 35 or 40. That would be amazing at this price point. He's going to play big minutes in this spot, so definitely a guy in the player pool I'll be rotating around on my balanced bills. I guess we'll talk about AJ Storr. I thought he was going to come off the bench, but this team's playing a lot faster than we expected. He's chucking up shots. He's at a 38% shot rate to start the year, a 27% usage rate. So it makes me think that there was some conversation that if you come here, you're going to be shooting a ton. I don't know how well that's going to work out for Wisconsin. But he's starting. He's playing a ton of minutes as well. And then, for DFS purposes, I'm probably not going to go there. I'd rather go with the other three guys that we've talked about. Max Klesmit has kind of been, him and Connor Sejan have been the victims of the arrival of Storr and his shot taking. Like Klesmit 217s back to back at 5,300. He's more of the fifth option on this team. So yeah, it's not for me. This is it's gonna kind of like spin the wheel, Jay, on these Wisconsin guys. One of these guys is gonna go for 30 plus fantasy points. So it's just the right one.
How do you when you're shooting 16, 17 shots a game like Storr has, like how do you
because you don't grab a rebound or pass the ball
but what if he does? What if he just grabs like 3 and falls into 2 assists and trips his way into a steal, or who knows? Like he could.
You're asking for a lot to happen there.
But it's tough. It is tough. He's going to score the basketball though, or at least have the opportunities to. So, Klesmit, I don't know, man. The usage for Hepburn right now, and that's going to fluctuate. That's early, right? Like I feel like don't know that he's going to live around 19% all season long, but 6,100. If you're trying to get just going with the old, who's playing the most minutes, who's going to be in there, Hepburn for sure. Will be other side of this one. Providence Flyers 66th offensive efficiency, 51st defensive efficiency, 192nd in tempo. Eric, starting with you, break it down for us with the Friars.
Man, one of my favorite players in the entire game, Brees Hopkins, 8.4K. He's got guard forward eligibility. It's just he hasn't really gotten it done yet this year, right? 24 in the last game, 30 in the game prior. Like it feels like that breakout game is just bubbling below the surface. I wish we were getting a little bit of a discount based on his early season struggles, but with the price sitting where it is, like, this is going to be another low single digits kind of guy. His rates are real strong. He's obviously got 40-point upside. The Friars are getting paced up in this one, right? So maybe this is the game. I'll sprinkle him in, but like I said, I really wish he was closer to like 8 flat, kind of the high 7s or so. If you're looking for some salary relief, you can go to Josh Adoro, 6.7K. He's done well enough to pay off this price tag, at least as recently as the last game where he put up a 37 spot. He is the pivot off of Hopkins. That big game last time out really showed that he does have the upside that you want at this price tag, and he's got that same upside in this matchup, right? So he's probably going to be a pretty considerable priority for me on the Friars side. And then, looking down the board here a little bit further, if you want to get into, kind of the low price range overall, you can go to Gaines here. You can go to Pierre is the name that I'm looking for. 4.6K. In that last game, 25 points. Like, you're plenty happy with that if you're paying this, this mid 4K price range. He's probably the guard that I'm most interested on the Providence side. Good rates across the board, especially that 25% assist rate. Like, you can hand out a couple of dimes and you can get involved in the game in a number of different ways. And, this price is not indicative of his minutes. He played 30 minutes in the last game, played 29 minutes in the game prior, right? Like, he might not have that, that crazy upside that you're looking for, but he's in the right side of this matchup. He is getting paced up. He's just a nice stacking option, especially because he's so heavily involved as a distributor.
Mike, before you get into your players, I wanted to ask you a question. We're talking about Hopkins a little bit ago. At 8.4K, he's got the guard forward eligibility. We joke about having the starting pitcher with relief pitcher eligibility, right? Like fantasy baseball. Excuse me. At what type of slate, like we talk about this slate sort of maybe leaning towards a balanced build. Is there a slate type where the guard forward, the dual eligibility is more appealing? And then, or is like a slate like this where it's sort of balanced anyway, and you can find that value, that mid-range value at any position? Does that sort of take away from that value for you, or the, sort of that, what makes that special and having that flexibility when slotting them into your lineup?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the slate, right? So like for kind of this slate in particular, there's so many mid-price guys across the guards and forwards that it's maybe a little devalued on this slate. But if you want to get into playing a bunch of forwards, like if you want to play Stephen Krull, right? If you want to play, Keegan Records, if you want to play some other guys that we'll talk about a little bit later at the forward position, then you can slot in Hopkins at the guard position. I feel like it becomes an advantage, especially when there's not guys that you can really pay up for at guard. So like we talked about the Creighton guys, I'm not going to have too much of them. I'm going to have Ashworth, right? So being able to play Hopkins at the guard is a little bit more valuable, but there are a lot of mid-range options. So, I'm gonna toy around with that a little bit. I'm glad you brought that up, but for the most part, I'll probably be using him in the forward spot. It just depends on where I'm at on the balance builds. Like, there's a lot of guys you can play, like JJ Starling's at 5,500. There's a multitude of guys that you can play at that guard spot. So, yeah, opportunity, right? If you want to jam in a bunch of forwards, I don't mind it.
Go ahead, man. Who do you got on this side?
Yeah, I mean, Devin Carter, like, he won me a lot of money last year, but at 7,900, that's not really for me. Like playing when he was mid-sixes last year, 20% usage, 30% assist is nice, and he always gets stocks. So the price is just kind of annoying. Like, I don't know that I want to pay $8K for him. Like, I'd almost rather just pay $8,400 for Hopkins. I don't want to play them together. So I don't know that I can really get to him. I do like the call on Oduro and Pierre from Eric, but Devontae Gaines ticket, he was $3K the other day. It's nice, 4,600. Right there with Pierre, right? Just not as much usage. Really has to have a lot of things kind of go his way. So I'd rather kind of play Pierre. Garway Dual, the magnificent freshman for these guys, like, he's going to be a one and done guy. He's 4,500. If you look at the rates and you love these, like 22% usage, 22% shot rate, 9% block, or 6% steal, shooting 80% from three, obviously early in the season, right? So these are a little inflated, but I'm going to have a share or two of him in the large field. I wish he played, I wish I could guarantee 24 minutes from him. This is not guaranteed. So, yeah, I'll use a little bit of Garway and for the most part, I'm going to be looking to use Hopkins, Aduro, Pierre, and then maybe a sprinkle of either games or dual out of my 30 lineups tomorrow.
It's tough. If you knew dual was going to play 25 minutes, it's almost like a free space.
Giddy
up. You just don't know, though, how many minutes he's going to get. Makes it tough, but definitely worth a shot. In a lineup or two for 4.5K, of course. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Drop us a comment in the live chat if you're hanging out with us live. Like it's a bit. Look, it's even going across the screen and telling you. That's that crack graphics team that, there's not one that's better in the business, I tell you what, than what we have at Green Screens Media, putting it together for you behind the scenes. For sure, like and subscribe. Do your thing. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. One more game here in our showcase, and it's going to be Kansas, a second road favorite as 5-point favorites traveling to Kentucky. Really, this is all right. I said it last time I was on the air, but now I'm just like, this is, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot. It's not the neutral. So, man, these neutral site games, man, like at versus against. Either way,
where the heart is,
Either way, home is, but either way, Kansas is 5-point favorites here at the neutral site, with their 8th ranked offensive efficiency, 4th ranked defensive efficiency, and 55th ranked tempo. All right, Mike, we talked about this being sort of middle of the road, balanced build, and then the guy that's going to win Big 12 Player of the Year is staring at you for 9.3K, and what do you do?
Yeah, click the button on Hunter Dickinson at 9,300. Look, usage rate's crazy. Shot rate's even more crazy. Combined rebounding rate is amazing. Assist rate is over 25%. Block rate is great. Steal rate is nice. I don't know who's going to stop him on Kentucky. What's the thing we've talked about with Kentucky? All their bigs are out. Who's playing center for Kentucky?
Me.
Not me. Not me.
Trey, your boy, Trey Mitchell is playing the 5.
Oh, yeah, Mr. No D.
Yeah, so name your fantasy score, Mr. Dickinson. He is going – the only thing that's going to stop him is an injury or foul trouble. So I'll probably have 80% of him, which means he's going down early or he's going to get 2 charges off the ball.
Before we even move on, I'm setting the over-under at 48.5. What do you take?
Ooh, 48.5 at 9,300. I will take this is assuming the game stays close. I'll put him down for a 51 piece tomorrow. So I'll go over.
Yeah, let's go.
Dude, who's going to stop him?
Yeah.
They don't have anybody. Yenso's hurt. Bradshaw's hurt. Ivisic is still hanging out waiting on his NCAA clearance. All 3 7-footers are hurt. Trey Mitchell doesn't play any defense. Like,
you want to talk about this matchup, right? Like, he's got a 46 spot in that first game, and in both of these games, he was so close to a double-double, 8 boards in each. Like, he grabs a few more boards in this one, which he should be in prime position to do. And I can see him flying past 52. This is an amazing spot.
Yeah, look at the minutes.
Yeah. He's been the so we stay out of foul trouble. So we stay out of foul trouble, right? Go ahead, Mike. If you're not familiar with One and Done, you have been hanging around with us. The crush that I have on Hunter Dickinson's game in general, you'll be familiar with it as the season progresses if you're new to this game. But go ahead, Mike.
Very dull.
All right,
he might be 8 feet tall by now.
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Eric. Let me clear my throat here. Go ahead, Eric.
Look, like if we wanna just continue to give Dickinson his flowers, like those horrible sunflower kits that KU dusts out every now and again. Say he gets into foul trouble, he's probably playing about 20 or 24 minutes in foul trouble, and he's got a 35 and a 46 in that limited run, right? So, like, the floor is absolutely there. The ceiling's unreal.
Especially the matchup. It's really the matchup that's out of control right now. I don't know what – I mean, the thing is, too, though, now that we're talking about this, and now I'm going to overthink this going to tomorrow. They're just going to double team him. Like – All right, let's stop.
Well, then do you drop down to the guards then? Like, I mean, you're saying, I know we're talking about smashing the button.
Yeah, McCullough, man, 7,200.
There's a case for these guards.
McCullough, 7,200. Just been amazing. Basically 5x, man. Just does everything. The thing is, the usage rate is up this year, and the shot rate's up. He was always a great rebounder, always great playmaker. But I mean, the steals and the blocks, they're still coming. So he's another great play where I don't play Dickinson on my 70 to 80%. No, I'm saying 70. I will be playing 20 to 30% of McCullough. I don't know that I want to pay 16.5 to play both of them together. I don't want to see if they'll score 1 million fantasy points. The only other guy, up in this range to kind of talk about is Nicholas Timberlake. That's a no for me, dog. 7,300. He's just an outside shooter, transferred over from Towson. Wish he had stayed so that way we could play him at 7,400 at Towson. But Eric, there's a couple of sneaky plays from the guards that you got, and then I want to get your thoughts on KJ Adams now that Hunter Dickinson is in town.
Yeah, I mean, look, the long and short of it with regard to KJ Adams is that upside is just completely gone now that Hunter's there, right? So 6.4K, like, he went out, he got 27 and 23, right? Like his rates look okay. He's strongest with regard to rebounds, 25% there, but the ceiling's just completely absent with Hunter in town. It's too expensive. Like he's not someone that I'm going out of my way to roster. Looking at some of these guard options though, I do think there are a few names of interest. We'll start with DeJuan Harris, 6.4K. The thing here is he's real sneaky. He's gotten off to a pretty slow start. A lot of that has to do with these couple of blowout games that they've had. He's only been in the mid-20s minutes. And in those games, while he's out there, he's looked pretty aggressive, right? So like if we see him, kind of maintain that mentality and play a full complement of minutes, I mean, he's got the upside to really pay this off in a spot where he's largely overlooked, right? So don't mind Harris at all. And then, at 6K flat, you've got Jackson sitting here. I mean, this is a pretty interesting spot. He's going to be pretty popular. I'm assuming this is going to be a popular game overall. And Jackson coming in off of a 31 spot. I mean, he is a real solid looking freshman. Got 10 assists in that last game, which is wild. This is also showing itself in his rates, 36% assist rate. So I mean, look, like anytime that a freshman comes in and shows you that 5x upside, it's something that's going to draw a lot of people's attention. But if you're trying to stack the Kansas side, going with the player that has the highest assist rate on the board, I mean, that's a great way to pair up with someone else. So don't mind having Jackson in the rotation either.
I don't know that I'll pay for Jackson at that rate, as I would need him to get 10 assists probably to pay that off. But Mike loves him from freshman. I'm surprised we didn't see him bring up Jackson there.
Yeah, too much usage from McCullough and Dickinson. And then DeJuan Harris, he hasn't been aggressive with the shot. So he's been aggressive creating for others. But now in a matchup where he's going to probably have to shoot more and he's going to have to take some open shots, and he can knock down threes, and he's going to be more aggressive defensively, and he's going to play probably 35 minutes. Like, DeJuan Harris is in a sneaky spot to win someone 10K.
Yep. A lot of been of those lineups. Do it at that price. Do it. Why not? Other side of the ball here. Kentucky Wildcats. 13th offensive efficiency, 27th defensive efficiency, 288th in tempo. So this is obviously a pace-up game for the Wildcats, including Mike, who cares if you can't play defense? But Trey Mitchell's been putting up some fantasy points in the first couple of games that Kentucky's had.
Yeah.
Interesting play there at 6.6K, but there's some value in the guards as well.
Yeah, I think with Mitchell, he's 6,600, which I do like. He's probably going to give Dickinson fits when he's on offense, stretching him out. Probably going to help keep the game a little bit closer. My problem is Dickinson's just going to pin him down low and go to work, and he's probably going to get in foul trouble. But you can't play, account for that, right? But that's something that could happen, so it's got to be in the back of your mind when you're rostering. Rates are okay. I mean, wish the usage rate was a little bit higher. Here's the problem. Like, I would love Mitchell and Reeves at these price points. Reeves is at 6,300. He's at a 19% usage rate and a 23% shot rate. The problem is that all these 5-star freshmen want to shoot the ball all the time. So, like, I was watching the game the other day, and Reeves is just kind of, like, hanging out and, like, Dillingham and Wagner and just, N1 mixtaping and shooting, threes and just doing all kinds of stuff, man. And it's like your two most efficient players are probably just kind of hanging out right now, and that's in Mitchell and Reeves. So, yeah, I mean, I'll sprinkle these guys in as run backs. I prefer probably Reeves a little bit more. He's more shot dependent though. So unless he makes some shots, like he's gonna be a real tough to roster, which I hope drags down ownership. And a lot of people are gonna be infatuated with the discounts from the freshmen. Justin Edwards, he's too expensive. He's 7,100. Like, yeah, could he be a top 5 pick? Absolutely. It's probably gonna take his time a little bit more to develop. He's kind of playing out of position too. He's playing the 4. Real tough defensive assignment with KJ Adams and his athleticism and length. So don't really care for Edwards. I do like the freshman, Eric. What say you on the battle of 5-star point guards?
Man, you're gonna give me the rights to talk about the freshmen again. You mentioned Wagner going out there doing his N1 mixtape thing. He's at 6.2K in this game. And the prices come down, which you like to see, right? Like that's certainly something that is always going to catch our attention. And obviously, like he can absolutely blow up, right? He hasn't exactly gotten there yet. 17 and 28 on the board so far, but 24% usage, 27% shot, right? He likes to chuck, and a 4% steal, right? This is really where the price thing comes into play. Like every $100 that you shave off that price tag, the more that those steals will impact you. So don't mind him at all, especially as an upside dart. Right there next to him, saving about $600. You can go down to Dillingham, 5.6K. A player that's started off red hot to the season. He's got 26 in the last game. He had 33 in the game prior. The ceiling is unreal, right? The thing with him is he's coming off the bench, right? So like it can be a little streaky. That 30% shot rate is great, but if he cools down a little bit, it can really work to kind of present his floor, right? So the ceiling's there, it's what you're looking for. They're getting paced up, but ultimately you're rolling the dice a little bit with Dillingham as well. And then the last name that we need to talk about that we haven't talked about yet, Reed Shepherd. He's all the way down at 4.3K. The thing with him is he's really just a shooter, right? Like he's better against weak competition. Kansas coming in as the 4th ranked defense in the country doesn't exactly qualify as weaker competition. So, for me, he's probably someone I'm going to be passing on.
It makes sense. It's going to be tempting to slide a player like that. Like, just because a player costs 4.3K doesn't mean that there's value there, right? Like, it depends on the spot. And is Shepherd even going to play
right?
like more than 10 minutes?
Well, he's not going to get 5 stocks against
12 minutes. No, he's not. Yeah. So I mean, it's tough because you want to get involved in a game with a total like this, but does he have to make all 5 of his shots that he takes? You're not really liking that. So Myron hopping back in, staying up late with us. What do we got, Myron? On the high implied totals and tight spreads tomorrow, going to need 200 to 210 DK points to guarantee cashing just to get into the money. The other night we were saying that it would take 300 to win. Myron's saying 200 to see some green screens. Is this a similar type of a slate, Mike, where we were saying a balanced slate like this could end up maybe in the 270s or
I think
280s.
I think 270 is probably going to win it. Yeah, because there's not really you don't have the Baycott. Really it's just Dickinson. I don't see anybody else on the slate that could touch a 50. So, I think the first slate we had Edey, Dickinson, and Baycott trying to smash all those guys in with all those 3K guys that were. That's why we scored like 320 or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is about piecing. 2 things are going to happen. You piece the right mid-tier together. Or you find the right combination of 2 stars and 2 scrubs. or you find the game stack that's a 2-2 or a 2-1, and it just goes over in overtime, and then you're or 2-2 or 3-2, and you're like, I really wish I had this game that's 88-86 in the overtime, and kind of that Michigan State James Madison feel to it when you had Walker. Somebody had Walker who had 50, and then they had the 4.6 run backs with Edwards and Bickerstaff, and yeah, it was Ship City with the bigs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, thanks for hopping back in, Myron. Always good to hear from you. If you're hanging out with us and we see you watching there in the lobby on YouTube, hanging out with us, 10, 11, 40, a million of you, whatever it is, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons all around the world. Been around the world and now, yeah.
Hey, Jay, I told the people yesterday on our News and Notes show that Cal was going to cover 11.5, and they won by 20 today. So getting off the schneid from that bad loss to Pacific tonight.
That was a tough one, but yeah, definitely bounced back today. My Cal Golden Bears can't lose any more of those gimmies if we're getting to 20, boys. Okay, I'm just saying. All right. Done with our showcase now. Let's get to one play and one fade. We're going to go through tiers here. The tiers being 7,500 and above for the high tier, 500 or 5,000, I should say, to 7,400 for the mid tier, and 5,000 and below for the low tier. So we're each going to give you, all three of you broskies in basketball here on screen are going to give you a play and a fade in each tier. So Mike, you lead us off here in the high tier. Again, 7,500 and above. Who is your play and who is your fade?
Yeah, and we'll talk about these from the other 5 games on the slate, right? We're not going to pick guys that were in the first 4 games because we've already talked about those guys. So from what's remaining in the player pool, Terrence Shannon from Illinois at 7,500. That's too cheap for him. I mean, this is a pace-up spot playing against Marquette. I mean, we know he has 40 fantasy point upside, so I'm going to be rotating him in. They're probably 20-25% of my lineups for sure. The guy that I will be fading, and I will be fading him until he's probably 6,600 and throws up a 40 piece at one point, and that'll be AJ Hoggard for Michigan State. 31 combined fantasy points in the last couple of games. So, we know he has upside, but not really the spot. This is one of the lower totals on the board. So, I'm probably going to fade him one more time. We'll see what that price comes up to next time comes down to once Michigan State's back on the slate. So, no Hoggard for me, but smashing some Terrence Shannon. Eric, what you got up here at the 7,500 and above?
Yeah, so my play is a fighting Texas Aggie Wade Taylor at 8.2K. I mean, don't mind that $800 haircut on his price tag overall. I'm going to be using him a fair amount, right? Like this is a guy that's coming off of a 33 and a 36. The Aggies are projected to score 74 points in this game, so definitely like how this one sets up, particularly for Taylor. And then on the other side, my fade. I'm going to go over to Tyreek Smith, the other side of this game in particular, right? 7.6K, like it's too expensive, right? Like, not to mention he's facing off against a very tough Texas Aggie front court. So, for me, it's just they're better spots in this high tier, or if nothing else, like you're looking at a guy that's going to get, high 20s, low 30s, like you need to be spending about $1,000 less than what Smith is carrying. So that's my play and my fade. Jay, close us out in the high tier.
I love it when the freshmen just fall to me and Mike does not bring up Isaiah Collier. Come to me, Isaiah. Phenomenal freshman. You love to see it. Big time implied total here at 83 points. I'm going to definitely be using him a lot. He's going to have a big night for those Trojans. And then my fade, Marcus Domask. 8K.
That's a lot.
Can't play him at 8K. Not even close at this point. Not saying can't win with him. Can't lose with him. Can't do anything with him.
I wouldn't even play him at 5K right now.
Honestly, like I don't understand it, right? But he's going to be like 1.2% owned, and somebody's going to smash
0.017.
Yeah, something like that. I can't play him though. I'm staying away. Collier though, smash the button, please. Do yourself a favor. before he's costing 8,500. Hop on board. Do it. All right. Let's go down to the old mid-tier. Drop it down a little bit. Let me start with Mike. Again, who you got in the mid-tier?
I'm going to do that thing where you tell me to do one and I give you like three. So, but hey, look.
Perfect.
But here's the thing.
Why do we even have rules?
They're brothers, though, man. Let's go with the Langleys. You got Keyshawn.
We're brothers. We're happy and we're family.
Keyshawn's 5,900. He's the shooter. Awesome player. Kobe, he's the table setter. He's 5,800. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Keyshawn. Love this spot against a Vanderbilt team that's probably going to give up some points here. So I think this is a 2-point spread in this game. And we talked about UNCG being one of the top mid-majors in the country. So I'm actually going to try to watch that game on TV tomorrow. And then I'll give you a little bonus before we move on, the little Tyrese Proctor action, just because he's 6,500. I don't love the game environment, but he's still too cheap. Played a pile of minutes, didn't shoot well. I'll be smashing that 9-point prize pick tomorrow, whatever it comes out to. So we'll be dropping that in the Discord for sure. And the guy that I'll be fading is look at me fading the Aggie. Old Tyrese Radford, that 7K.
Shocking.
Minutes are there, but other Aggie options that I'm going to be playing, specifically the one that I believe Eric brought up in Wade Taylor. I really like that price cut there. But yeah, Radford not for me. Eric, what say you in this mid-tier section?
Man, I'm going back to the well on Cam Jones, right? He was one of our projected most popular players from a few nights ago. That turned out to be the case, and rightfully so. Paid off a relatively low price tag. Then he's gone up a little bit, but still, 6.9K at Illinois is just too cheap for a guy that's coming off a 47 spot, right? So definitely don't mind clicking the button on Cam Jones' name. Where I do mind clicking the button is Jeremy Roach, right? I love the Proctor call, sub 7K, and Jeremy Roach shows you, exactly why you don't want one of these guys, in the mid to high 7K range, right? Just flat out too expensive. We know Michigan State is a tough matchup. So, this is a guy that I'm probably going to be fading outright here in the mid tier. Jay, who you eyeballing up as your favorite play in this mid tier range?
Mike, you were tippy-toeing around those Texas A&M Aggies and who you were going to look at. It's Henry Coleman is the cat that you should be looking at in that game for 6.1K. Had an absolute monster game at Ohio State. Too cheap for the upside here at 6.1. Obviously, a little volatile. Okay, maybe a little volatile. That's all right. You're volatile. I'm volatile. We're all volatile, okay? I'm going to be smashing that button for Henry Coleman a little bit. And unfortunately, my guy, Danger!
Don't do it.
Danger! Danger. Get on the flow! Can't do it. Can't do it for Danger. Not even at 5K.
Not even against Marquette?
Not even against Marquette. Yeah, we know how bigs can get theirs against Marquette. That is absolutely a real thing. But he's only playing 20 minutes. If I knew he was playing 29, 30, I could probably get the 5K for Danger, but not just thinking he's going to play 20 minutes a game. I can't do it. I'm going to have to wait and see. Probably wait and see. I hate not playing Danger.
This just says you want to sing the song.
It's not play Danger. Watch your back. All right, here we go. Let's move on.
I was worried we weren't gonna get a song tonight.
The opportunity didn't present itself, y'all. Sometimes I can figure it out a way to work in, but when I see Danger's name down the sheet, I know that one's coming up. We're getting
we got part of the intro for the Wayans Brothers show, right? That's almost better than a song, my guy.
We're happy and we're singing, and okay, let's move on to the old. What were we at? I skipped Danger there. Let's go to Eric. How about Eric? going to go to Eric for the low tier. I'm going to start. Mike got enough going first tonight. That's enough. Eric.
Yeah,
going to come to you for your low tier.
I'll kick off the low tier. We've got Donovan Atwell, the guard forward eligible 4K play for UNC Greenville. Look, I mean the story with him, like 28 points in that last game, played 31 minutes, right? So like everything that you're looking for, you know, this should be another fun matchup against Vanderbilt. And then look, we're all over the place with how we feel about Texas A&M. My fade, Hayden Hefner, 3.5K. Like, I mean, he's on the court enough, I guess, but he's not getting it done, right? Like, he's a bench piece for them. You know, that first game is you know, really more of the aberration, right? Like, came out and scored 19 points in 20 minutes. Like, he's not that player. You can't bank on that happening again, right? So we'll keep the roller coaster ride going with Texas A&M. Mike, are we finally done talking about Aggies here?
I mean, depends on what happens with Julius Marble. He is, I believe, still questionable. So if he's out, I mean, I guess you could throw a dart at Anderson Garcia at 4,300. Or a last minute, like if you have 4,300 left and you don't know what to do with it, I guess. I mean,
always do.
Maybe. Got a little fade in this area. Colin Smith, 4,500, playing good minutes. Vanderbilt playing UNC Greensboro here. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just way down on the pecking order for me. And I don't know, man. It kind of feels like we're running out of people. Jay, is there anybody else that we need to mention, man? Like,
no, I mean, I think we talked about so many people in that mid-range that I feel like you're going to be able to get it done. Even if you're playing a couple of those higher price players, like using the guys around 5.5, you know, in that, 5.5 to 6K range, people are going to smash on this slate. Some of those mid-range guys are going to absolutely smash. Are we playing the right ones? You know, are you mixing it in? And do you have that special recipe, right, to make it all come together? I didn't have any more plays, though, man, on this low tier. Like, just remember that just because somebody's 4,200, who was that earlier that I was saying that was like, it was super, like, you don't just want to get in, Reed Shepherd. You don't just want to get in on a game because the guy's at 4,300. Like, I don't want to throw somebody out there and just for the sake of being, you know, a cheap player here. So, yeah, that's good stuff, though, guys. Thanks for bringing that. Let's move on now. Like and subscribe if you're watching with us, of course. Let's move on now to the Core Four. You knew we were going to get there. You knew your boys were going to get to the Core Four. If you're not following us on Twitter, if you're not following us on TikTok, at Get Green Screens on both of those, and then at One and Done CBB is our show page. If you're not following us, you should be, first of all. Shame on you. No shame. No shame in this game. It's okay. You're good. But here's the Core Four that we are dropping basically every night. Oh, wow, man. Wait a minute. I see Myron there in the comments. We're going to hit him first. Get to him before we hit to the Core Four. What do we got, Myron? Thoughts on BJ Edwards and Chasey? I mean,
nah, not BJ Edwards, man. I don't know that he's smashed. I don't know that he's going to be. I mean, I hope he's not. I guess I hope he is popular. I'm playing mid-20s minutes for SMU. No, it's not really for me. So I'll pass on that for sure. Chasey. I'm trying to think of who Chasey is. Why don't we drop the Core Four and I'll see if I can figure out who Chasey is.
All right, Core Four here. I'm going to bring it to you here tonight, ladies and gents. Keyshawn Langley of UNC Greensboro sliding into that guard spot at 5.9K. Braden Smith, you knew I was coming back to him. You knew I was going back to my boy Braden Smith. Slide him into that Core Four for Colgate at 6.6K. Cammy Camerson, Cam Jones, Eric's guy, Cam Jones, getting him in there, of course, at 6.9K. And then I am not leaving. It might be 100% for me to have my guy, 100%. Hunter Dickinson. Yeah, 100%. For Hunter Dickinson, maybe. Who knows? What do we got there? What do we got left after that? 5.3. You can do a little bit with that. You can skirt around with that average left over there.
You know what's hilarious? Myron's comment, Chasey. I'm assuming he's saying, is he Chasey, like to chase him?
Oh, is he Chasey?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we chasing?
Yeah.
Is he Chasey? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I'm
like,
thinking I'm running trying to figure that out in my head. I don't Chasey,
Yeah,
slippy, Samsonite. I was way off.
Yeah, nah.
Good question though.
Not gonna play him. The price is up $500, and like the thing is, he's averaging 3 steals a game, and this is a tougher matchup against the Aggies. So like, just mid-20s minutes, I can't do it. There's just way better spots out there.
Way better spots like Langley, Smith, Jones, and Dickinson. That's the core 4 for tonight here on One and Done for this slate. Of course, you knew we weren't going to get out of here without me asking the broskies for some bets on this evening. The best bets, Mike, starting with you, going back to you. We'll let you go first here. Fine, whatever. You can go first.
Thank you.
Best bets of the night. What do you got for us, sir?
So I believe KenPom has Wisconsin -2, but the books actually have Providence favored by 1.5. So I'm probably doing it wrong here, but it's a home game. I think Providence covers. I like the individual matchups. And I think Kim English, our guy Kim English, man, gave us the interview this offseason. Appreciate it to him. We're going to put some good juju in the air for them to cover that 1.5. And then I think Duke's going to bounce. Then the battle of the bounce backs, right? You have Duke against Michigan State in that neutral site game. I think Duke covers 3.5. So it's going to be an absolute slugfest in that one. I just feel like there's just too much talent. I feel like Proctor's going to play better. Feels like the freshmen got some game under their belt now. So I hate betting against Izzo, but it's not March, so I feel okay.
Yeah, we're still in November, so don't have too much trepidation. Eric, a couple of bets before we get out of here.
Yeah, there's a couple that catch my eye. I don't mind Colgate getting 5 points at Syracuse, right? Like this version of the Orangemen isn't exactly the defensive presence that they once were. So I think this one will be relatively close, and anytime that's the case, don't mind getting the points there. And in the exact opposite case, I'm going to go over to Alabama. I've got them covering 19.5 points at home against South Alabama, right? Like this is one of those classic just talent discrepancy kind of things. Like they've got too many horses. They're going to outrun them, right? So feels like a big number, when you look at it on your book, but ultimately I think they're going to cover it pretty handily.
It feels like a big number because that is a big number. But they got the horses. They definitely do have the horses. So the best bets of the night: Providence covering 1.5, Duke bouncing back -3.5, Colgate as 5. Colgate getting 5 points at Syracuse from Eric, and then Alabama covering 19.5 at home versus South Alabama. It is now, if you're watching Mountain Time live with us, you are, well, no, because right now it's Central Time. It is officially One and Done After Dark. It is after midnight Central Time. It is Slate Day, if you will. And we appreciate all of y'all for hanging out with us, staying up late, getting this DFS knowledge in. There's nowhere else to do it. We're you guys. Make sure you're hanging out with us all the time. Turn on those notification bells. I am the conductor of this train. My name is Jay Heinrich. Boop, 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 boop. There you go. You dropped that one in there for you. He is El Capitan himself, the captain of the ship, Mr. Mike Holland. Follow him on Twitter at MCHolland34. Find Eric the Blue in those Twitter streets at FantasyNav, our guy Eric Romo. Follow our guy at The Real Napier, of course, Napesy Hustle, as he's been anointed. Where if you got a better one, Nape. Chris is Chris, but he's Nape, and he's right now Napesy Hustle is going to be hard to beat. Shout out to our guy Cam for dropping that in there. But follow everybody. Follow at Get Green Screens on Twitter and on TikTok. Follow at One and Done CBB. We're bringing the heat. The season's just starting. Don't go anywhere else. We're going to be right around the corner here for another DFS slate later in the week. Hit those notification bells so you don't miss us. Take care of yourself. Tell somebody you love them. Let's go out tomorrow, baby. Let's get this bread.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.